When you say balance, you're saying between, let's say, a slightly more enthusiastic character and being super comfortable for when you're driving yourself or when you're sitting in the backseat, the balance is great. Is that what you're saying?
So it's okay, he's hit upon it. So I'm going to get there. The steering with the suspension tune, the front end, I was taken aback with how good the front end is.
Oh, nice.
You know, this car used to be sold in the US with a V6. So this is the first time they've stopped offering the V6 in the US. It's only strong hybrid. But they do offer it as an all-wheel drive over there. We get the front-wheel drive. So this thing, when we were chucking it around corners, my God, I was taken aback with how well it turned.
Nice.
And this has a trait which I remember with the Lexus as well, the LS 500. It tends to get a bit skittish at the rear. Means at the rear, if you get a little bit of a bump, then it'll move. But the front just sets. So you can power it through stuff and just let the rear be a little bit playful, and that's fine. And you enjoy that. And given the size of this, it was surprisingly clean. It was surprisingly quick. So all of that, when you're bhagawing it, the only thought is, it's making too much noise. We should do a little bit faster. That's about it. So the chassis and suspension, the way it's working is really impressive. Like I said, the steering, the front end works from a driving standpoint. The suspension from the more Camry standpoint is, the good thing is that it is good over bad roads.
Okay.
Again, this tendency of being able to go over the bad bits without getting harsh. And that is the thing that I didn't like about the old Camry. Not that it got harsh, but it
but it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, it just felt clunky, right? Like it didn't like that, which is not the sense you get now.
Correct.
It works smoothly, it works silently. And the most impressive bit in all of this, for me, was that the ground clearance is 148 millimeters unladen. And when I was driving the car, it was two of us, because Toyota does Toyota things. We have a chaperone while we're driving. So there was somebody in the car with me. And so two people in the car. And literally, the first set of speed breakers that you go over, you take a little bit of care, right? And the next set that you arrive at, you start levitating, you pucker up and you're like, oh, you're going to 100% touch. And you go and nothing happened. You say, okay, the next one. So you get a little bit more adventurous, then you do it. Okay, no, fine. So went off the highway to find places where there were speed breakers, and some of them where you could see scrape marks, like that, that stuff has touched down.
Speed breakers, yeah.
So going over them, and each time you're like, oh. It cleared everything except one, which was an incline, and the speed breaker over there was also uneven. Like it was heavier on one, it was larger on one side, and there it touched down. So my analysis of that was, what the suspension was not doing was, when you went over it,
it didn't bounce at the end.
It didn't sag too much. It just went and immediately corrected.
Yeah.
So it never went into the stroke too much. And its performance was great. And that is the sense of what it did on the road, that it never got too upset. And whenever it did move around, it quickly settled back down.
Nice.
And so I went back to the team and I said, this is a different feel. So what's changed? They said, we'll have to check. So thankfully, they pulled out the entire presentation and they went through the presentation. And then you go through it. And you say, you know why they can't list what's changed, right? Because bearing stiffness increased, rod stiffness increased, this tolerance reduced, this bushing changed.
Got it.
So it's like that. The entire system has been tweaked. So it sounds like the same system, but it's a different system.
And there's so many tweaks that it adds up to a completely different result.
Correct. Yeah. So we went through the presentation, like the couple of slides, which whatever I'd asked them about. And it was like, okay, they've changed the bearing here, they've changed this here, they changed that there. And so fundamentally, they have overhauled the entire thing, and the same thing applies to the drivetrain as well.
Got it.
So the engine might seem like the same 2.5 liter, but the way it interacts with the electric motor, what the electric motor is doing, they said the transaxle is new, which is a combination of all those factors, and therefore the experience has changed.
Right.
Hi, it's me, Kartik, the one who's generally laughing and just going along with Shumi's jokes. You can catch all the jokes on the main channel. That's where they're all there. Right now, this is a bit of the serious conversation, but you can catch all the fun factor on the full video, which is on the MotorInc channel. So head out there and subscribe. And if you want more of these shorter clips, do subscribe to this channel as well.